Welcome to Third Hour Science. Today is Monday, May 4th, 2020. This week's assignments, we'll be working on our Earth Day packets. You should have received them on Saturday. If not, you should get them today. They've been put in the mail. In our packets, our Earth Day packets, they're pretty big and they've got a lot of assignments in there. Some of them are very easy. Some take some thinking. We will not be doing most of the math in our packets unless it is specifically related to our science. We will complete 2 to 3 pages per day. This includes the fun pages. On April 22nd, I did a video on Earth Day. I hope you remember the topics that were mentioned. Okay, so on the front of your page, there is a maze. Looks like it's a little bit hard there. However, if you would like to do that, I encourage you to do it. It is the polar bear standing on a very small piece of an iceberg, and he needs to get to the big iceberg. Okay, so the math page that we will not do. If you want, you can just put an X over it. That shows that we will not do it. On page 2, there is a large maze getting the sun rays to the solar panels. That looks like a crazy maze, guys. So here is our sunshine. And right down here are the solar panels. We need to get the sun all the way to the solar panels. This one looks a little bit more difficult. Have fun with it. So our main assignment for today is the first annual Care for and Clean Up for Our Earth. Look at that picture. There are so many things happening in that picture. Look at it. I see a dog. I see a cat, as a matter of fact. No, it's not 2 cats. I think that's a squirrel. We have a boy and a girl. I think that's a boy. A boy and a girl looking out the window. We've got a girl carrying potted flower plants. We have another girl cleaning up. Looks like she's putting all of the trash in a trash bag. Look at all of the trash that is on the ground. I see a snail. Oops, there's a snail. I see lots of flowers. What is this? That looks like a deer. It's got antlers. Reminds me of a reindeer. Look at all the new plants that have been planted. We have some right here. We have a young girl pulling a wagon right there. She is pulling 2 trees. We have a snake down here. We have a hoppity toad there. We've got a pile of leaves. There is one thing in this picture, and here's their rake. Do you think that's a squirrel with his tail around the rake? He sure is close to people. Okay, so in studying that page, this is a worksheet that goes with it. It is 2-sided. What you are going to do is you are going to read the question and answer. Write your answer in. If it requires a complete sentence, please write a complete sentence. Make sure your punctuation is correct. You start with a capital letter, you end with a period. So I am going to read all of the questions, and I am going to pause on just a few that I thought maybe would be a little bit difficult, and I may have mentioned them in looking at the picture. So what kinds of trash are the kids collecting? That is question number one. You can look in the trash bag and see what they have already picked up. What does it look like the teacher is doing? This was a little bit difficult for me. As I looked at it, I thought, well, she looks like she's straight ahead and she is pointing to something. However, I believe that she is explaining to the girl what or where she is going to plant. So my answer was, it looks like she is explaining what to plant. Number 3, what does a cat want to drink from? Is it a watering dish? Sometimes we water our flowers with what we call watering cans, and they got these little, the top has sprinkles in it so that you can sprinkle gently your plants instead of dumping a lot of water. What are things you could plant? What is something that we can see in this picture that you can plant? What could you use to get leaves in a pile? There is something beside the tree that will give you that answer. What do you think the baby worms, baby birds want? In this picture, I can see one bird with something in his mouth. I think that is what all the birds want. So number 7, what is peeking around the corner of the school? I shared that also. Kind of talked about 2 different names that we can call them. What pet is most likely named Freckles? I have to chuckle at that one. I used to have it was a miniature cross between a Chihuahua and something that was long-haired. Anyways, he was just tiny. He was the most darling baby I've had. And I named him Freckles. He just had a few freckles on his face, so I thought that was a perfect name. So yeah, which one is likely named Freckles? He probably has freckles, or what looks like freckles. What is something that slithers? What are the kids putting the trash into? What season would you guess this is? Do you remember? This was a little difficult also, because first of all, I wanted to say summer because of the flowers that I seen. However, as I looked into the picture more, I remembered some of the things that we learned, what we look for, in trying to determine what the weather is. We had talked about this before. What was one way you could tell the temperature or season by looking outdoors? Was it by their clothing? Can you tell what season it is by their clothing and surroundings? I decided I could. I think they were wearing long sleeves. I think maybe a couple of kids had jackets on. And so during the summer, they wouldn't have jackets. During the fall, they wouldn't be planting flowers. Okay, what is something that hops? I gave it a name when I first started. What has one wheel and 2 handlebars, or 2 handles? I didn't see this in the picture. But in the spring, when I do yard work and I'm raking and I'm just picking up trash and I'm just doing everything, I usually use a wheelbarrow so that I can haul everything to the dumpster or put it into a trash bag from the wheelbarrow. My handle broke, so I got to fix it. Number 14, what is being pulled? I had to look pretty close at this one. Who is watching from the inside windows? There are two children. I said one was a boy and one was a girl. However, as I looked and looked and looked, it could have been another girl. So you write what you think it is. Who has feathers? Number 18, who is using something that will take a picture? On the back side, number 19, who is listening to the teacher? Who is holding something? Who is patting down the soil? Number 22, how many letter C's do you count? How many boys do you count? How many girls do you count? How many grown-ups do you count? I struggled just a little bit because, and I got it wrong the first time, until I got to the end, did I realize that even though the teacher is a girl, she is a grown-up. And I guess we wouldn't call her a girl anymore because she's a lady. She's a grown lady. So that ends our lesson from our assignment, from our packet. There is something I would like to read to you about reduce, reuse, and recycle. People make lots of trash. Just think about all of the things you throw away each day. There are wrappers from food and drink containers you eat when you eat. There are old newspapers and junk mail and magazines at our house. There is trash at school. There is trash at the doctor's offices, banks, libraries. There is so much trash. When most of us throw something away, it goes to a landfill. At the landfill, the trash is burned and buried. It is buried underground. We cannot keep burying all of our trash. What are we going to do with it? Several years ago, there was a train driving up and down the railroad tracks, loaded with trash, not knowing where it was going to dispose it. When most of it throws, okay, I already read that. So we cannot keep burying all of our trash. We make too much of it. We will run out of room to put it all. What can we do? Do you remember me talking about saving our earth? And how, I don't think I talked about this. We all have to do a part. If each one of us does our part, our earth will be healthy when you grow up. Someday you'll be a grown-up. You'll have a family. You'll have children. They will have a safe earth if we protect it now. So if we learn to recycle, okay, I'm going to back up just a little bit. At the landfill, the trash is buried underneath. We cannot keep burying all of our trash. We make too much of it. We will run out of room to put it all. What can we do? There are 3 things that we can do to make less trash. We can reduce the amount of trash that we make. We can reuse things. We can recycle things instead of throwing them away. If we do these things, there will be less trash going to our landfills. It is easy to reduce the amount of trash you make. Start using a water bottle. Don't buy bottles of water that you throw away. Use cloth shopping bags. Or reuse your plastic bags when you go to the store. Then you won't have to use new paper or plastic bags each time you shop. Try to write on both sides of the piece of paper instead of only on the front side. All of these things will reduce the amount of trash that you make. That concludes our lesson for today. I want to remind you to watch your videos and stay on task. That is the best thing to do. We have a lot of pages in our packet. So we will be learning a lot. It's the end of our lesson for today. Have a great day.